Now in this video, I'm going to create a simple project that we can use in applying data tables in a simple web page that contains tabular records. So we're going to do a lot of coding, and you pay attention to what I'm saying and what I'm doing in this video, and if you follow everything up correctly, then you should be able to easily integrate data tables to your tabular records in HTML. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over to NetBeans, because NetBeans is the preferred IDE that I like using to write codes and develop websites and other applications. So I'm going to create a new PHP project, because a lot of people out there use PHP, but don't worry about if you're not a PHP programmer, don't just have any problems. If you are using some other server-side language, it's not a problem, because what I'm going to do in this particular tutorial has nothing to do with server-side scripting, and it's not being specific to PHP. It can be applied to any other particular programming language that you are familiar with. So it doesn't really matter whether you are a Java, JSP programmer, or whether you are a Python programmer, or if you are working on the .NET framework. All what matters is that if you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and jQuery, then you should be able to follow along with 99% of what I'm going to do here. So I'm gonna create a new project. So I'm just simply going to call this this is a PHP project. So I'm gonna call this project DataTables example. So I'm gonna click on next, and my sources folder is gonna be in the xam/htdocs/datatables example. So I'm gonna click on next, and it's gonna run on the local web site on my local web server, and the URL is gonna be http://localhost/datatables example. So I'm gonna copy that so that I can browse on it from my web browser. Then I'm gonna click on next. Now I'm not gonna select any of these PHP frameworks, because I just want to demonstrate something that has nothing to do with server-side scripting. So I'm gonna click on next, and I don't need any composer to click, so I'm gonna click on finish, and then I'm gonna wait for it to create the index file. So here we go. We have a project called DataTables example, and we have an index.php file here. And like I said, don't have any worry about PHP, because we are not doing absolutely no PHP coding here. I just want to demonstrate data tables, strictly HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff that we're gonna do here. So here they have opened a PHP tag for me, so I'm gonna remove it because I don't need that. So I'll simply put hello world there, and then I'm gonna save it. Then I'm gonna go over to the web browser and access my site, which is localhost/datatables example. Press enter, and here we go. Here's our hello world. So that was just a test of my project creation. So what I want to do here in this example is to show you how to apply data tables. But before I show you how to apply data tables, let's show you once more time how your page is going to look like without data tables. So I'm going to go over to that data tables example in the web browser, which I open over here, and then I'm going to go back to the zero configuration link and open the basic initialization. Then I'm going to go over to the HTML section of that so that I can get all the code that was written in here. So here we go. Oh, there were a lot of records, and oops. Let me highlight that and see how I can get down to the very bottom and get all those records, which is quite difficult because I'm pressing my my left click mouse and holding it and then scrolling with my middle mouse button at the same time. So I've gotten all that code. And I'll go over to NetBeans and I'm gonna paste. Let me just say, what was this record all about anyway? I don't know what this table is all about. I think this has to do with employee records. Yeah, these are employee names, position, office, age, start date, and salary. So these are employee records. So I'm gonna simply, put a heading H1 and then say employee records, so that I can, come over down here, then paste the table tag containing all that code. And I would like to indent my code properly, because that's what I'm always disciplined of. So here we go, and this should be indented this way. So so now with a simple copy and paste, I have a whole lot of records to check out. So let's go over to the web page of my example and refresh the page, and then you can see the employee records that I have, and you can see how ugly the table is without data tables. So the first thing that we're going to do now is to start applying, and this is where you have to really pay attention, how we are going to apply data table on this table to make it so beautiful with all those features, search, pagination, and all that. Alright, so let's go over to NetBeans and then see what we're gonna be able to achieve from here. Now, based on the traditional way of setting up a website, I'm gonna set up directories in my source files of the PHP project that I created. I'm gonna set up directories for CSS files, and I'm gonna set up directories for JavaScript files. I'm just doing this to fulfill all restrictions. It's not that you really have to do it. So that's where we'll be putting our CSS and JavaScript files. And then the next thing that we have to do is to grab the information that we have in data tables. Like I said, we will need jQuery, and we will need the DataTables JavaScript library. So you can see in the JS directory here, they have several DataTables library, and here's the jQuery library. But I believe this is the one, that these two libraries, these are the ones that we have to use. So pay close attention. Don't come here and get confused on which particular library to use. These ones are just for other extra features that can be applied. Not that you don't need all this, or they are useless. They are useful for other extra features, but for the basic features that we want to apply in this tutorial, we're gonna need this jQuery DataTables.js, and then we're gonna need jQuery.js for the jQuery library. Now I must add to you that these other jQuery DataTables.min.js is the same thing as having this, but this one is a more compressed version of this other one over here. So the code here has been obfuscated, so you can't really read it, and you can see the difference in size, that this one is 437 kilobyte, this one is 81 kilobyte. So this one is for people who want their website to load faster. So it's either you choose to use this one, or if you're on production, you can choose to use this one. Whichever of them, make sure you reference them properly. If you are using this one, then make sure you reference it at jQuery DataTables.min.js. If you are using this one, then make sure you reference it as jQuery.datatables.js. Alright, so I'm gonna copy these two files because I want to use those two that I've selected. So I copied it and take it over to my JS directory in my source files on my project. Then I'm gonna right click, then I'm gonna click on paste, and now I have jQuery DataTables.js and jQuery.js. So the next thing that we're gonna do is to get the CSS file, because we need them. We need the CSS file. So the CSS file that we're going to use is jQuery DataTables, the CSS, and like I always say too, the mean version of is the compressed version, but I don't really see much difference in both. So I'm gonna pick this one. Yeah, I'll paste it in my CSS directory. Then finally, we're gonna need some images, and I forgot to create an images directory. So, but anyway, I think I can simply just come down here and let me see what we have here first before I copy. Okay, so here are the images for sorting, ascending and descending, and not sorting, sorting both, and other icons that are supposed to be used in the DataTables project. So I'm gonna copy this images directory. But if you already have an images directory in the project that you're working on, you can simply copy these images and then reference them correctly. So I'm gonna copy this images directory. Then I'm gonna paste it in my source directory. So I have these three directories: CSS directory, images directory, JS directory. To recap, your CSS directory must contain the jQuery DataTables.css, and your JS directory must contain these two libraries: jQuery DataTables.js and the jQuery.js. So if you are done doing that, then we can move ahead with the coding process. So in the coding process, what we're going to do is to add a star or a link tag to link to our external style sheet. So we're gonna say link rel, and rel is gonna be style sheet, and then the type is gonna be text/css, and then the href is gonna be CSS / jQuery DataTables.css. So that's how to link the external the external CSS file. And then the next thing that we're gonna need to link is the external JavaScript JS library, the jQuery library. So so here we go. So I'm gonna say script, and then I'm gonna say type is gonna be text/JavaScript, and then the source is gonna be JS / jQuery.js. So make sure you type that correctly if you are following exactly along with my tutorial. I forgot to note that if you are not using NetBeans, okay, maybe for some reasons and your preferred ID is not NetBeans, you can still do what I'm doing and follow along with 99.999% of all what I'm doing. So all you just have to do is to understand HTML and JavaScript and CSS and how to link these files. So now that we've done that, the next script that we have to link is gonna be the jQuery DataTable script itself. So I'm gonna use the type attribute specified as the text/JavaScript file, and then the source is gonna be JS / jQuery.datatables.js. So now that we've linked those files, let's go back to the web page and then refresh to see what we've got. So I'm gonna refresh the page, and there's no notable changes that has been made. That's because there's one more thing that requires to be added. Now if you go back to the DataTables example, they told us that on the JavaScript side we have to write a script and we'll do this document.ready function business. So you can go ahead and whether you want to do internal JavaScript or external JavaScript, whichever one you want to prefer. I'm going to create an external JavaScript, so I'm going to create a new script, a new JavaScript file. So I'm going to call this main, which is going to be main.js. I'm going to click on finish. Now in my main.js file, I'm going to add that code that we were supposed to add in order to be able to initialize this data table. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to paste it. Now I want you to note that the ID of your table, which is example in this my case, which is the same here, must correspond. They must both agree with each other in order for this to work. So if your table was using some other ID, make sure that the ID that is specified here in this jQuery stroke JavaScript code is the same and it agrees with the case sensitively with the ID that is declared in the tables HTML table over here. Alright, so now that we've done that, we also have to link this main.js script. So here we go. So another thing I'll need to note is that in order for this to work, and if you have been familiar with jQuery and JavaScript, you have to do it according to the way I've done it. Your jQuery library should be linked and referenced first before the jQuery data tables is referenced before the main.js. You cannot do it the other way around, or juxtapose this. You just have to do it according to the arrangement that has been done over here. So now that we've done that, let's go over and check out what we have and see the changes that is going to take effect. Okay, time to check out what we've done so far and see if all what we've done is going to work. And I believe that I've done everything correctly. So we go over to the web page and then we refresh this page. And here we go. You can see the page dramatically changes, and we have the headings and all this sorting, and how many entries that we can view and all that, and we can search for information. I think there's someone called Nash over here. Here is Bruno Nash, and you can select how many entries you want to view. You can paginate to the next page. You can go to the previous page, and you can see information about how many entries and 1 to 10 or 57 entries. This is 11 to 20 or 57 entries. So you can see this is the basically how data tables work. And if you follow this tutorial exactly the same way, if you've been doing exactly 100% of what I'm doing, you should be able to achieve this on whatever web page that you're working on or whatever data that you're working on. So that is it for this video tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're gonna investigate some other features that can be applied on data tables. So I hope you found this informative, and thanks for viewing.